I want you to have an experience that you will never, ever forget. We want to make this a big event for you. Our goal is to change your lives. This is what you have to go through. Anybody can be 1X or 2X. Dude, to get to these multipliers, to blow the roof off of your life and career to 10X in your business.
The greatest entrepreneurial conference on the planet.
Last year, I was in the negative, and now I'm here, man. I turned my business around, and now I'm trying to get to that next level.
We went from sleeping on an office floor 6 years ago to now running a multi-million-pound business, all from grants material.
10X your lives. 10X the lives of the people around you. Give more than you take, and I promise you, you will get more than you ever dreamed of.
Welcome to today's Mastermind. You've got Wayne here, Director of Operations. You've got Alan Lazar, Genius Media Buyer for 10X Productions, and we're coming to you live here from 10X headquarters, Grant Cardone's office. Look, today is all about tips that are going to help make your Facebook ad campaigns work, and not just work, but really be effective and get ROI for you. And before I get into all the nitty gritty, what are the specific things you can do? Why do you even want to focus on Facebook? That's the first thing that I think of before I take a course of action, and I actually put a lot of effort into it. Well, why should I even be doing this? There's 4.2 billion people on the internet. That's a lot of people. 2.2 billion of them are on Facebook. That's how many Facebook profiles we have, meaning you can pretty much reach half of the world on one platform. And to give you an idea of how big that is compared to everyone else, the next biggest platform is YouTube at 1.3 billion. Instagram's got 1 billion. So these platforms, they're not even closer. They're half as big as Facebook. They get nowhere near the amount of potential reach as you can with Facebook. So anyone who you think, hey, my customer wouldn't be on Facebook, the people that I'm trying to reach aren't necessarily there, that may or may not be true. Because the truth is we're reaching more than half of the people that are currently even on the internet are on Facebook. And if you're using other platforms that are a lot smaller, like if you're using Twitter, which is around 460 million, or something like Snapchat, maybe you want to reach a younger audience. they're under 200. That just doesn't compare to being on something that can reach 2 billion plus people. So when I think of why do I focus on Facebook and then even Instagram a bit, because it's the same company now, why do I focus on those two platforms? Because I can reach over 2 billion people just by doing that. If I did nothing else and I just stuck to this platform, then I pretty much got half of the world as far as who's on the internet that's available to me. So now into the things that really are going to help us make ad campaigns work. Alan, when I think of what doesn't work about an ad campaign at the media buying level, actually going in there and clicking the buttons, typically one of the first things that I see is that a lot of times people use the wrong campaign objective. I'll even tell you which one I see that really this. It almost irritates me when I see it now. If I see anyone run this kind of campaign, I have to really step back and think maybe they just don't know things have changed. For example, traffic campaigns. How effective have traffic campaigns been in your experience?
Well, I just want to touch on one thing prior to that, what you mentioned as far as Facebook and why we use Facebook. So actually, I was watching a Grant Cardone video recently, and he was talking about one of the biggest mistakes he made was that he wished he spent more money years ago to capture the audience. So what do you use aside from paid traffic? It's organic, right? And it's just a very slow pace. It works, overall through time, but that big influx of traffic, you're not going to get it anywhere else, or at such a big audience like Facebook or Instagram. And it's also the right demographics, right? So it's older individuals, and we have the ability to choose what kind of person we want. It's literally, as of right now, a gold mine has been for the last couple of years, and then you can be able to target exactly the person you want. Now, as far as types of campaigns like traffic, believe it or not, I still use some traffic, but I use it for literally in that sense, just for traffic, not for a conversion. So Facebook, before I would say 4 years ago, you wouldn't want to trust them to find you the ideal client, but Facebook's algorithm has gotten a lot better where you would want them to deliver the ad the way they recommend it. and that's usually by conversion. So you say, hey, what if you guys don't know what a conversion ad is? A conversion ad is like you set up the ads based on a transaction, whether it's a sale of a ticket, for example, a sale of a product, and Facebook optimizes based on that. Where traffic is, we're just pushing people to your site, which is the lowest, I would say, rookie method on sending traffic because there's no optimization. It's just kind of like, it doesn't even, here's the funny thing is Facebook just released a new feature which is called optimized for landing pages, right? Because it's like the traffic is not even that good of a method because it'll send it to the site, but it not necessarily they would stay to wait for the page to load. So it's like, I use it for just a handful of things, which what I would need an influx of just physical traffic to like trick an algorithm, let's say. Like there's features where you could benefit from the traffic push, but you're right, it's a lower entry method.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like if you're trying to drive some traffic to like a blog post, that's something I see you doing. But anytime you want to have the end user do something on your page, it's just not what works. I mean, the difference between the two, running a conversion campaign, sending to the same landing page as a traffic campaign, I've seen a difference of like 10 to 1, and sometimes even worse, in favor of using a conversion campaign. Like it's a night and day difference between the two.
Exactly. So there's so many factors that come into running traffic, and it goes with the type of campaign you run. That's one, I would say, a major part of it. Also, it's the content you use. So people overlook stuff like click-through rate, right? I've had companies that are multi-million-dollar companies that have ads running that are at a 0.5% click-through rate and spending megaton money where, that's a terrible performing ad. I mean, that means nobody is clicking on it. And the more clicks you get, I mean, Facebook is going to honor that ad saying, hey, you know what, you did a good job. People are enjoying this content. We're giving it a good relevance score. Relevance score is like a internal rating Facebook gives. So we're going to honor it by giving you a cheaper click because we don't have to work as hard. So you're absolutely right. There's many factors that comes to running a successful campaign, and I think you're going to lose some money before you kind of figure it out. I definitely agree.
Yeah. But if you start with the right objective, I mean, that's going to make a huge difference at the end of the day. Yeah. The next thing is a real easy, like low-hanging piece of fruit to work with is retargeting. I mean, there's companies that maybe they have some basic ads running and they don't do some basic retargeting off of who's already hitting their website or off of people who've seen an ad of theirs before. And what I've seen happen plenty of times is that, look, you put an ad in front of somebody once, or you have somebody go to your website and they didn't convert. And then I can put a retargeting ad, like basically just retarget that same audience who either went to the site or saw the first ad, and it costs you a few cents to get them to finally convert. And all it was that one extra touch. Didn't really cost me that much to put the second ad in front of them. And it's the difference between paying 10 cents to get them to see another ad and having them actually opt in, or paying $1 and getting someone brand new who's never seen the ad before to try to opt in.
Retargeting is the first thing that we like to do with new clients. It's the lowest of all hanging fruit. It's basically your warmest clients, people who've visited your site but either didn't convert, abandoned the cart, meant they intended to buy but didn't go through the checkout, let's say. So know your product. And especially, I would say, in the last year or so, we've been pushing on a method that a lot of big direct response marketers, someone like Frank Kern, also emphasizes on, is that we have to now, what the strategy is, we provide 100% value. First ad, it could actually just be full content. It couldn't even, not necessarily even an ad. And then get them engaged into the video, get them engaged into the site, and then our second ad, which would be a retargeting, will have an offer. So we can't be so cutthroat as far as just assuming, here's my product, buy it, and what's going on is how many sales do I have in my store. It's not like that anymore. But retargeting creates an amazing lift. And you can see it in the numbers. We spend tons and tons of money every day. So we know what works as far as an abandoned cart, which is a similar style of retargeting, but you want to target the warmest clients, right? You want those clients to convert. They know who you are already, so it's definitely a strategy I recommend.
Yeah, I mean, and one more bit on retargeting. I mean, you have so many more options on Facebook. This is another big advantage Facebook has over pretty much every other ad platform, is that you have so many more options when it comes to who you can target and how you can retarget. I mean, it used to just be that retargeting was if they hit a page, you can follow them and hit them with another ad. Now, retargeting on Facebook is to the point where if they watch 50% of a video or 25% of a video or 90% of a video, specific points, you can say, hey, anyone who's watched most of this video, I want them in the audience so I can follow them with my ads. So people who are already engaging with your content, same way you just said it. You put something up that's value add. How do you know people are interested in it? Well, they're going to watch it. And if you retarget off of who's already watched it, you know they know who you are. You know that they're interested in the content. And then it makes sense for your follow-up ad offer to be there in front of them.
Absolutely. So like I said, you want to hit them with a good video and target and build audiences. And let's say even you're small budget and you only have 500 people that watch 90% of your video, you can actually start building lookalike audiences. You could say, hey, you know what? I don't have enough people here, but find me people that resemble this guy or this person. And you can do that on all kinds of things. You can do, one of the things that actually it is not as lucrative as it was a couple years ago was we would do lookalike audiences of people that were most likely to click. So there is a campaign that is kind of old school. It's called a pay per engagement. A lot of people don't like to use it because what happens is if someone comments on your ad or someone likes your ad, you pay for that. And you're thinking, why would I want to pay for someone just to like my ad and not even visit the site? But if you can target people who specifically click, who are notorious clickers as opposed to commenters, you can go in and say, get all the people that historically are good at clicking and find me people resemble that. And then actually you can save 35% compared to other campaigns. And that's where your money's at, right? I mean, saving 30% on ad cost, this is what justifies our job. I mean, certain things like this that you wouldn't necessarily think works. I mean, by testing, and we have the data. Whoever has the data wins. I always say that because we have the data. We spend the money. We know what works, and our clients benefit from that because of the data that we collect.
Yeah, I mean, data is what lets you do the optimizing. I mean, take the client that you use as the example. I mean, you have that client 0.5% click-through rate on their ad. You get that to 1%, right? You just make it a 1% click-through rate. You've now doubled the effectiveness. If they put $10,000 in before, now they're getting $20,000 worth of effectiveness out of that ad. Huge difference, and it's just like little numbers like that.
Yep.
So next thing I would look at is just the actual audience targeting, like interest targeting. Sometimes you don't have an email list to make an audience from, which is, again, something you can do on Facebook. That it's another big advantage. You can't necessarily do that on all the other platforms. Interest targeting. I mean, what have you seen works best when it comes to identifying the right interest categories for your audience?
So my experience, even though if I have an audience or I have a pixel is basically a code that you put into your website that collects audiences and data that the more people, the more traffic you get to your site, the more advanced your pixel gets. The more seasoned, the more information, and it gets better. But with any even new campaign, I like to run just basic interests. So when you go on Facebook, you hit them with basic interests. And it's, believe it or not, it's gotten so much better that I know some campaigns that we have that are performing better with interest than a pixel, because sometimes people are sending the wrong traffic to your site. And your pixel is going to work based off what kind of traffic you put. So when you start working with interest, again, allowing Facebook to go ahead and find you the right audience, it is a testing. It's a season of testing. We're testing to see what campaigns work, but we're also doing it on such a small budget. You know, it could be something like $15, $10 per audience, and we're saying, hey, Facebook, you got $10. You got to go find me the right clients, and Facebook is going to really work that money. And then like you mentioned, is after that we can find micro targeting. We can find people who watch the video. We can build audiences from those interests. And that's when we build custom audiences and
Right.
specifically for that client and that campaign.
Yeah. Now, let's say we have the right audience. The next big thing, huge tip actually, is you got to have the right offer. Like the thing that you put on your ad, the copy, the image, whatever it is, it has to be something that makes sense for them to click on. I mean, if I want to promote my service and I build fences, if I just say, hey, here's a beautiful fence, and that's it, I mean, that's not a very good offer. I mean, if I say, hey, we're running this month only, we're running a sale, you get $2,000 off, click here, this month. I mean, again, you got to have things in your ad, maybe a sense of urgency, maybe it has to be like a discount, things that make people can make sense of, like they can help make sense for themselves, like to click on this ad. So like, what do you think about offers that you see and ones that work?
So that's a space that's constantly changing because obviously pattern interruption, like being able to stop someone from scrolling. So you need to know the psychology of Facebook. You need to know where these people are looking at. So Facebook is completely different in YouTube. So Facebook is a casual, people are looking at it, could be during their break at work, could be with no sound. So there's importance of having text, for example. Average, interest is 2 seconds. So you can't start with a 10-second intro, fancy intro. That won't work. It's got to be something that just catches the audience right away. And we learned that firsthand in Grant Cardone over here. A lot of our videos, we're constantly testing to make sure things are working out. But I would say text is huge. Offers, we call them tripwires. So something to capture the audience and get their attention, scarcity. Believe it or not, ad copy is huge. So ad copy, we have a staff full of direct response people. So basically sales targeted ad copy. So it's not just saying sale, purchase here, something to captivate the audience. Believe it or not, there's keywords that if you use, Facebook is going to punish you for. So if you use a word like, I'll give you a couple, like you, your, if you use millionaire, Facebook is going to throttle that reach just for safety purposes. And then a little ninja trick, and I'll share with the audience, is we like to use long form ad copy. So instead of having a 1 sentence or 2 sentence form ad, it could be longer because what's going to happen, there's a button called read more or learn more to read the rest of the text. So Facebook gives that a positive attribution saying, whoever's looking at this ad is interested in reading more, so this is a good ad, so we're going to give it to you for cheaper or deliver it to more people. So whatever it takes to, and Facebook can see that the person stops on your ad, like whatever it takes for people to stop, watch most of it, read more of it, Facebook is gonna reward you for that.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, setting up your offer in the ad the right way is going to raise your relevancy score, and then you benefit off it. Either it just being cheaper or it working way better. It's a huge difference. So how about you have the best ad ever? I mean, it's the perfect offer, it draws tons of attention. Maybe it's pattern interrupt video. It's something like it stands out, and you get everyone to click it. It's perfect.
Right.
The next big tip is you've got to have something on the other end of it, whether it be a high converting landing page or a website who's set up to receive that sort of traffic for it to really have any sort of value for you. Because as a media buyer, like one of the worst situations to ever be in is if you could run like the most excellent traffic from the right audience, get them to click, and then they don't have a place to go to that makes them likely to actually move forward.
Yeah, so number one mistake a lot of people do is they'll send traffic to their main site, straight to the domain, and then let the user decide where to go. Whereas we want to, we use a term funnel. I mean, you'll hear funnel used in this space a lot, and it's literally that. Like we want to funnel them into the direction where it goes to a sale. So we build landing pages or page-specific sites where we want it to convert. We will even add it to cart. I mean, if it's like a retargeting, we don't, the less movement for the person, the better. So they'll go there and it's already added to the cart. All they got to do is check out. I mean, these are all things that we, a faster loading page is important. One of the things that we do, like for example, we're a big user of ClickFunnels. And in that system, we can do A/B testing, which we would run multiple landing pages to see what converts, because you can have the best traffic, you can have the best copy, the best video, and if it's not a converting page, it's just not going to work.
Yeah, it's pretty big. So, I mean, once you have those things in place, I mean, the next really big thing to look at is, look, with Facebook ads, Facebook changes really fast. And you've got to optimize every day. Like, you have to have somebody in there every day, night sometimes. You've got to go in there and you've got to look at your numbers, make sure that your cost per acquisition or, cost per result isn't going through the roof, and adding in little things and testing against what you're currently doing to try to get better numbers. I mean, there was a campaign the other day that we've had running for a couple months, and just by implementing, one new test every couple days compared to what we were already doing, we cut the cost of each lead by half. I mean, and that's huge.
I mean, the more we have these conversations, I feel like the more people should actually hire us for our service. Because I'll give you an example. I mean, we look at this stuff every day. You can have an ad, for example, that's 80 cents a click, compared to another ad that's $2.80 a click, but the cost per acquisition, the other one is performing better even though the clicks are 5 times more expensive. So there is an intricacy about all this, and landing pages are something that we for sure we test. If we decide to work with you and partner up with you, we're for sure going to look at your landing pages, because we want to make sure that it's converting, things are right, things are loading. It can handle traffic. I mean, that's another issue we've had in the past where sites will go down. They're not used to the amount of traffic, and these are all things that we take a look at.
Yeah. Okay, so the next one, as far as making an ad campaign work. Now, Facebook is a social media platform. And I mean, there's a lot of positive things to using Facebook as an ad platform. There's also a lot of changes, and at the end of the day, who they're looking out for, I mean, when you take them out of the question, is the end user. Because if the users leave the platform, they can't monetize it. Less attention means less ad revenue, because I'm not going to spend on a platform that doesn't have the people that I want on it, right? So what they're doing is, all the changes they're making is they're making it harder to be your typical advertiser when you put up your ads. Meaning, if I put up a very salesy kind of ad using like these words like, oh, become a millionaire, things like that, either the ad won't go through, or it's not going to show as much, or people are going to give it like a negative reaction and it's going to end up costing me more. So the next big thing I see that's working really well is using video content. Using video content in your ad to get more engagement on it, and then have that just be a better campaign, because hey, more people liked it, more people commented, more people watched a longer portion of the video. Facebook takes it as a good sign, and then they reward you for it as an advertiser.
Yeah, by far video is the best performing ad unit you could do right now, especially on Facebook and Instagram. And Facebook's #1 model is user experience.
Yeah.
Over money, over anything, because if they lose the users, they lose the whole platform. So they're constantly looking out for the user safety. Users, they did a purge, I would say a couple months ago. If you notice organic, for those of you who have Facebook pages, you notice that your reach keeps on getting lower and lower organically, because they don't want to clutter the news feed. Like, the money is the news feed, the ability to be on that news feed. So, and believe it or not, 95% of all information seen on Facebook is through newsfeed. People don't go to Facebook.com Grant Cardone. I mean, people see Grant Cardone's Facebook on the newsfeed. There's data that you can actually pull up to see how many people actually do that, but it's high. It's in the 90s. So imagine your Facebook page, 90% plus are viewing your information only on the newsfeed. And that's a huge deal. Now, mind you, so YouTube is a little bit different. The person on YouTube is willing to watch a video longer, right? Like, if I usually watch YouTube sometimes at night, and I have no problem watching a 20-minute, 30-minute video on something. Whereas Facebook would be a little bit spurts. So you got to know what type of video, and we help you with that, would work on Facebook, what type of video will work on YouTube, or a pre-roll, it's called, is like, when you're watching that Shakira video, music video, and there's that 10-15 second video in the beginning. That's called a pre-roll. So like, all of that doesn't mean you just blast it on all the channels. We have to work out a strategy.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, that's for sure super important. You definitely have to know who it is you're reaching, like how you should communicate to your audience based off the platform. But I mean, as far as like the biggest things that I see, it really comes down to that. I mean, it comes down to choosing the right campaign objectives, like doing the technical work the right way, the right objective for what it is you're trying to get done, making sure that you've got retargeting built into your campaign, not always setting up your audiences to focus a lot on the retargeting, but if it works better than your cold audience, if it's a lower cost per conversion, then go with it. Using custom audiences, like this is huge. Like this is one of the biggest ones for Facebook. I think they've done a great job this year adding in new tools in their custom audiences. That whole being able to target, smaller sections of how much they've watched the video. That they're way ahead of any other platform. I can't wait till some of these other platforms catch up. Having the right offer. If you don't have the right offer, you're not going to get the traffic. You're not going to get the clicks. Everything's going to cost you more, and you're not going to convert as well.
Just want to chime in. I mean, a lot of this might seem overwhelming to a lot of you. Believe it or not, it's overwhelming to us because we're constantly shifting and updating with the changes that a lot of these platforms make. More so of a reason to hire us and to assist you with this. I mean, a savings of 20, 30%, or a significant lift like that, it helps. We would for sure teach you if you were to work with us and we decided to partner together. We would obviously teach you as we go the steps, things that we're doing. But mind you, know that when you get us, you get a staff of 40 with help with videos, help with ad copy. I mean, there is a whole science of just the right text to write. Yeah. And we have softwares that we can scrape the whole internet of the most successful text, that keywords that people like, that Facebook like as well, that they're not going to hit us for, and say, this is our recommendation based off of our software. I mean, stuff like this is so complicated. We sit here every week and discuss things, but the best play would be to partner up with someone that has a strategy, has the data, more importantly, to get this going.
Yeah, I mean, and that's true. I mean, when we run our campaigns, these are the things that we do. We optimize every day. We make sure that we have the tail end built in. We make sure we have the code and the targeting and everything set up to work. It's good if you're just getting started as a company to have someone on your team that can do this. But then once you're big enough where you're going to be spending in the tens of thousands of dollars, I mean, it's just not worth playing around with it. And the biggest thing on advertising is that you should be seeing a return on your investment. Your ad dollars, they should circulate. You should be spending it. You should be getting a return. It goes right back in your bank account so that you can continue spending and making a profit on your advertising.
Yeah, and then I also tell people this is that one of the ways I've been very successful in signing up new clients is I always tell people, give me your ad, run it on your ad account, and we'll run it on our ad account. And ours will be cheaper. It's just we just spend a ton of money. Our cost per clicks, we get a break in price that we see compared to someone who's new and has a new ad account. So there's many, many advantages in working with someone like us. Like I said, we are constantly testing new ways to run things. Like he was indicating, the traffic campaign or the conversion campaign or the pay per engagement campaign. All these kind of campaigns, they still have them and they seem like crazy. You'd be like, why would I pay for per like or per click? But there are campaigns for that, and we'll run stuff, especially if we have the right audience. So it's great to have someone like us on your side, and obviously if things work out, we'd love to partner up with. Where would people go if they want to inquire about signing up with us?
They would go to cardoneadvertising.com. Simple. cardoneadvertising.com and just contact us.
Okay.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I mean, that's it for today. Thanks so much for joining us. Hopefully this helps you out with your ads with what's left of 2018 and moving into next year. Appreciate you guys joining in, and we will talk to you soon.
I want you to have an experience that you will never, ever forget. We want to make this a big event for you. Our goal is to change your lives. This is what you have to go through. Anybody can be 1X or 2X. To get to these multipliers, to blow the roof off of your life and career to 10X in your business.
The greatest entrepreneurial conference on the planet.
Last year, I was in the negative, and now I'm here, man. I turned my business around, and now I'm trying to get to that next level.
We went from sleeping on an office floor 6 years ago to now running a multi-million-pound business, all from grants material.
Give it a loud roar.
10x the lives of the people around you. Give more than you take, and I promise you, you will get more than you ever dreamed of.